Yeah, they're recording.
Smash him. Okay, it's happening. So, first of all, it'd be really good just if everyone could go around the table and everyone could just say their name and what gallery they're from.
Carmen McKenna Sandin, Nottingham Contemporary.
I'm Charlotte Winters, First Sight in Colchester.
I'm Gabby from Take Collective.
I'm Naomi, I'm from Cambridge, so writing in Kittleshire. I'm Rachel, I'm from Tate St Ives.
Lou, I'm from Cambridge as well.
I'm Jack, I'm from the Whitworth in Manchester.
I'm Sophie, I'm from Tate St Ives. I'm Angela and I'm from London.
I'm Nikki, I'm a researcher with the University of Nottingham.
I'm James, I'm from First Sight Colchester.
I'm Bradley and I'm from First Sight Cambridge.
I'm Sophia, I'm from Tate Liverpool.
And I'm Ros, I'm the political friend. So, like I said before, I've got 8 or so questions here, but we don't necessarily have to answer any of them, all of them. The first ones are about circuit, and then the others are about circulate. So should we start with a couple of questions about circuit itself? So the first question then is, what difference has circuit made for us as individuals? And the second question is, what difference has circuit made for your galleries? So does anyone want to kick off with some thoughts about the differences circuit has made, either for yourselves or for the gallery that you come from?
I can start. First of all, when I went to First Sight for the first time, I was dragged because I was nervous of everything, like to the point that I would just not go outside the house because I just found everything scary. But over time, First Sight has allowed my confidence to build up and given me a lot of opportunities to do art, and actually gave me the confidence to get back into education. So at the moment I am studying a level 3 diploma in applied science and getting distinctions. And yeah, they're just like the opportunities keep on coming, and young people are able to have a lot of confidence building and opportunities to do actual art in the gallery.
I think for like Take Collective, what Circuit meant was we were programming quite a lot, and then there was a lot of questions about funding, and like we had to like stop a lot of events and stuff. So I think it like kind of like reassurance that we could continue programming and stuff like that. Yeah, it was kind of like just you can continue for like the next 4, I don't know how long, many years. It was like 6 years. 6 years. I don't know how long it is. But yeah, it was just like reassurance and stuff. And it was cool as well that we were more connected with like, I guess you guys, because we didn't really connect that much with like other galleries. Well, we did in the past when we had a different funding, but like it was cool to like, I don't know, work really closely with 5 different galleries.
I'll say that in the Whitworth in Manchester, it's definitely changed a lot of the staff's approach to dealing with young people, and there seems to be quite a lot of prejudice. You know, if you don't look like you're meant to be in the space, and you get your eyes on you, I think we probably all experienced that at one point or another, and it's just great to see that people are welcoming people in and really sharing that experience of the art gallery and bringing people in.
I guess I would say the same, but in terms of just the staff's outlook towards the collective in general. I was saying this a little bit earlier, how when myself and Sophie first started going to our collective meetings about 2.5 years ago, you know, we walked in and we spoke to the staff on the front desk. We were like, oh, we're here about the collective. You know, we were really excited and really wanted to get involved, and they kind of just sort of looked at us and went, what? Like, they didn't know what we were. They didn't know the group existed. They didn't know anything about it. Oh, that's the learning team, you know. That's over there, that's not to do with us, that's separate from like the gallery and how the gallery functions as an institution. And ever since we did our festival, I think that was the real turning point, because we worked with everyone, all the staff, because we didn't have a gallery at the time, so all the staff, oh thank God, I've got something to do. And they all came to this place. You know, we kind of said, oh, you know, the young people are doing something. Okay, we'll all go along and help out. And then they came up and they met us and they were like, oh my God, you know, this is a living, breathing group of, you know, really enthusiastic people who really love what they're doing. And, you know, they were all saying to us, you know, you've actually done like such a good job and you've come together and like made this event happen even though you didn't have a gallery space. And so now I'd say the communication between our group and the staff, even though we still don't have a gallery yet, is like so much better. Like we have like at our meetings now, we try and invite somebody different every week to come and have lunch with us and like generally just, you know, have a chat and introduce ourselves. And it's been really great. We've had so many different staff members from the gallery coming in and just chatting to us, and it's been like so much better. It's been, like, it feels much more together now, and I think that's been massively helped by what we've done here.
I think for us at Take Liverpool, what Circuit has done is really show what young people can achieve, and because Tate Collective, or previously we were called Young Tate, have been at Tate Liverpool for like, I don't know, 23, 24 years. So, but like, the group has always been considered as like the children, and you know, you want to be seen but not to be heard, and like, you know, you don't get too close to the artworks, and that's kind of always been the culture at the gallery in Liverpool. So what Circuit has done is it has enabled us to show what young people can achieve, the high quality of work that young people can deliver, and that we can speak to staff members on an almost equal level, or at least as people we can talk, you know, without being considered as children. So that's been quite good. And like one specific, I guess, achievement that I'm very proud of is the fact that so at Tate Liverpool we have an artist collective for members of staff, and Tate Collective I've been invited to join that collective a few years ago. So we're kind of considered as part of the family, the Tate Liverpool family, rather than like the children that come every Saturday.
I think Circuit is a sort of a whole thing, especially at first sight, has improved a lot with the community in the, excuse me, in this area. That was quite gross. Well, basically, like, how long ago did I join? Like 3-4 years ago, something like that. Before I had joined up with Circuit, I was halfway through a business course at college, and it was the most boring thing I'd ever done in my entire life. I'd never really done any kind of art at all before that, and then all of a sudden one day I bumped into James, and he goes, "Oh look, there's a project happening at First Sight. Get involved." I went, screw it, and I did. And here I am. I probably would not have a career or have any clue of what direction it is I would like to be going in if it was not for Circuit. Just putting that out there. But because of what it has offered, I have done so much. You know, it's not just art or like understanding different types of art, it's sort of like the politics, the philosophy, the engaging with other people. I've not actually had a very sort of confident sort of social sort of skill, so I'm not very good at talking to people or like engaging with them directly. Emotions and social interactions are confusing as hell. But this, and doing all this stuff and interacting with people all across the country has been great. And I've obviously met all the people. You're lucky. Definitely.
Yeah.
This is slightly off tangent, but it would be interesting to like ask, I guess, in the conference, the adults, this particular question, mainly because it'd be cool to see whether you know, they start to understand how young people are now a lot more, and ultimately for me, it'd be cool if someone, I don't care who, actually said, you know what, it reminded me of when I was a young person, because I think there's this disparity of, it's almost like they were born and then they immediately could turn 30, you know. Some of the responses that we get, it's, were you not young at some point in your lifetime? Did you not experience certain things, you know, and how did you tackle that? And I think it will be really refreshing to hear someone say, yeah, listening to young people, listening to their experiences, listening to how they've evolved and grown, and just being around them, it's reminded me of what it was like when I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, etc. Yeah. So yeah, because flip it on its head.
And I think it's had a really big impact on some of the practitioners professionally as well, and actually some of the gallery programmers were quite young when they started their roles, so they were often, because they were quite not entry level, but they were the people recruited were often in their sort of first big gallery job. So I think they've grown so much in those 4 years as well, and often in our programs we focus so much on what's the impact for young people, we forget actually what's the impact for all the staff involved as well, and it'd be good to share that on a sort of even basis.
Yeah, I really feel like collectives are like, you know, we are kind of like this big family, but I think like the individual collectives, I'm sure you guys would agree, but you know, you go to these meetings, or you know, however you interact, you know, whether it's, you know, social media or whatever, you meet up, and it just feels like this little family. And obviously, because Circuit's coming to an end, our program manager Sally is the funding's run out for her job basically, so she's not going to be working with us after March. And we were told this at our last meeting, and you know, she kind of sat there, and Rachel, the learning curator, was just saying, you know, this is what's happening. Unfortunately, Sally's not going to be with us, you know, after March. And Sally was like, and she kind of just looked at us, she's like, I'm glad to leave the room. And apparently, she told us later that she'd been wandering around the office shouting it out the rooftop. She was like, I was fine talking to every other person, you know, every other member of staff, but I came in and I looked at all the young people in this room, and it was like, that was it. And she was like, I can't do this. I feel too close to you, and I'm really upset that I'm leaving. I think it was more the fact that the group of people that we have, she was leaving, and that makes it, you know, because we've all got really close, you know, I like to consider everyone in the collective that I know as friends, you know, and that's the staff included. Like I wouldn't dispute between either. And yeah, now it's kind of this really strange limbo point, and people are kind of thinking, you know, we're moving on, what's going to happen after Circuit? And it's really sad, because this kind of family's come together, and it's like, yeah, it's sad to see it kind of changing. But,
another off-tangent question. Is this really it? Like, that's it?
No.
I mean it. It's a genuine question. It's like, because just listening to all of your responses, I'm like...
It sounds quite final, doesn't it?
Yeah!
it sounds very final.
Yeah. Lower the casket.
I think it, like, I mean, this is kind of like, I guess, the unfairness of like reality. I think Take Collective will still be around, but maybe other collectives won't, and that's the sad part.
See, one thing that I've sort of learned from this though is like, I'm gonna, even if there's no funding, I'll happily volunteer, lead the youth group. You know, and I think that without Circuit, none of us would have probably realised that, yeah, we enjoy doing this. You know, it's actually nice to have an influence on people's development and things like that. So for me, yeah, I'd say that it might be the end of this, but it's not the end.
And now, you know, Circuit's brought us together, but now that all us galleries know each other, we can continue working together.
Collaboration.
Funding isn't there.
And that's one of the things as well, as I suppose, programmes ending, but now we all know each other individually, not only just through the galleries, so we can go collaborate externally.
But there's already a group called Collaborate.
Don't worry, we'll put it in.
I always feel like really awkward talking about like what difference it has made for me, because I feel as if those who know me like can probably attest to how much I've grown from like the start of Circuit to like now. I think like one of the main achievements for me has been like being accepted onto probably one of the best MA course for curating in UK without having a degree. So that's kind of been like a huge difference, like positive difference for me. But one thing that I've realised through Circuit is I've always thought like if you go into the arts, you become this kind of like artist genius who sits in the studio and like paint and whatever. And for me, that's kind of just something that I couldn't really accept for myself. Like, I couldn't justify that, but through circuit, I finally realised, oh, you can use art as kind of like a tool for social change, tool for like civic service and whatnot, and that's kind of the thing that I'm interested in. And like looking at the gallery as a place for learning and for communities to come together. And it's really weird because like now that I'm on my MA course and I'm talking to PhD students about what their research are about, and I feel as if, hold on a second, so like all of these stuff that we've been talking about, people are actually doing PhDs and like writing proper academic research on like some of these topics that we've explored, thinking that like, oh yeah, this is like genius. But I mean, like, you know, when you're 18, that is genius. And then like the fact that when you go to uni and you realize that people are actually doing research in this field, it's kind of like, oh, that's a nice feeling. It's like I'm not just kind of this, I guess, lost, wandering child, like not knowing what I'm doing. It's like I was actually kind of slowly discovering and like developing my own thinking. So that's kind of been the difference that circuit has made for me. So it's really weird, like, you know, I go into the arts and oh yeah, I never have to write essays ever again. And now like I'm trying to forge a career as an academic, so it's like, how did this happen? But it's been positive. So.
I think a good thing about circuit is that it helps with both sides of those things. So obviously you have the art side of it, you can go out and create stuff and make stuff and like use your, you know, the creative part of your brain that everybody craves to use. Yet at the same time, the way that it's run through institutions means you kind of have that more academic side. You know, you have to write a risk assessment, which, you know, some of us have probably never done before, you know, never considered it. You know, that's something that other people do. No, we're doing it now, and it's like all the like nitty gritty, kind of boring, but really important stuff. We're all involved in making that work. So in some way, it's just really good life experience. Like, you know, quite often, like you talk to people like, even people who are at the same level as me, maybe at uni, you know, and it's just like, oh, what have you been doing, you know, at the weekend? And it's like, oh yeah, I've been planning this festival. And they're like, oh, you can't do that. That's like a proper job. And it's like, yeah, it is. You know, it's happening, and it's happening now, and it's like it's accessible to our level. I think it's really great. It's like opened up this kind of this channel, like we are capable of doing all these things that supposedly people up here can do. So I think that's a great way of kind of introducing people to the industry without making it scary, because I think a lot of it's kind of very much, oh, I can't do that, you know, it's too high up for me, but it kind of makes it this kind of plane that everyone can work across, which is really great.
I think the other thing is as well is like young people have actually become so much more embedded in the infrastructure of First Sight. Like obviously we've got Michael, who is the curatory guy thingy.
He's the assistant curator and is also the person who curated the festival we did as well.
And then Fraser, who was one of us, is now the head of communication-y stuff.
Yeah, he does like the advertising and the
marketing.
That's the word. he joined right on the very end of our young person group and then directly got a job with First Sight.
And then somehow some idiot went, yeah, she seems alright, and I ended up helping with all that stuff. But yeah, we are sort of becoming a lot more serious as people. We're not just, hey, look, they're the little kids which we've got to like babysit everywhere. We are literally becoming like the life of the gallery. And people are thinking of us on the same level and really valuing our ideas.
And so we should.
We really do push our luck though, don't we? We really do just push it as far as we can.
Yeah, exactly. It defeats the purpose if we did otherwise, really.
Exactly.
Think about it, guys. We're the next generation. All of these guys who are in chairman positions, CEOs, so on and so forth, we will be the ones who will be sitting in their seats. And it astounds me that some way, somehow, people seem to have forgotten that. You know, how else are we going to learn if you're not willing to teach us, and if you're not willing to guide us, if you're not willing to avail your time and your money, lots of it, hopefully, to ensure the greatest possible space, so that when you move on, whatever legacy you've put to make sure that whatever it is you're passionate about exists and exists until the end of time, continues in that path. It baffles me.
See, that's one thing that I think the group, the program's given all of us, though, we realise that, you know, we may be in these low-end positions, you know, we might have some change in the galleries, but the fact that we're thinking about how we can change galleries, I think, is down to, I didn't think about that, you know, if I visited a gallery, I visited, had a wander around and left, whereas now you can actually have an impact and have your say, which I think, yeah.
Circuit needs to be sort of let into the gallery as well, I think. Like, you need to, like, the people in charge need to welcome it, like, allow it to make a change and enable the people that are part of it to make a difference. Because I'm sure it would be entirely possible for Circuit to exist as like next to the gallery and just never be allowed in and just never get anywhere. Like you were saying, you've had some problems at first, like being allowed to do stuff. And like I think some galleries probably has been a bit harder. Like, there's still some like working out at Whites and Kettle's Yard, but I think that's possibly also because it's spread across 2 teams. But people are sort of like beginning to like think about, or like how could we could get something involved in like the program with it. So like beginning to like make an allowance for like our voices and stuff that we want to do in the program. And I think that's such a big change that needs to start up, because otherwise why would young people go to a gallery if there's not even like the notion that they have any like representation or any relationship to it?
Well, just imagine hypothetically, say like 20 years, that we are actually like, you know, the new circuit. So we're in the position that the circuit, like, you know, people are in now. Do you think that because of how we have sort of done all of this, that we would do it the exact same way, or we'd do it differently? So like, there are lots of complaints, you know, like red tape here and do this and don't do that bit there. But the first, like, how far we have come already, even with that in a way, how would you change it if it was in that position that you were in from now?
£5 million. Start again.
Well, for one, was that a rhetorical question?
No.
What would we do differently?
We were talking earlier, weren't we, about the way that programmes like this are governed a bit, and how there's like different groups. So at Circuit there's a steering group, isn't there? There's a working group, and there's a board as well, and they're made up of different kind of staff members in the galleries. And some of you were saying how it would have been really good to have had like a youth board as well, like separately, so that it's not just like one person on a board or but it's like you actually sort of sit together and there's not an adult mediating it, maybe, or maybe there is, I don't know, but that would have been good if you were to design it all over again.
It's quite interesting. I think there's something I'm really used to hearing across all different organisations, and I don't know how far it's a myth really, but it's that young people won't be interested in going to meetings.
It's an assumption,
and it's often an excuse that's used to stop. So that there's never even an invitation for young people to be a part of those meetings.
It's done sound really bad, but because obviously I am a care leaver, so I do know quite a few young people, and if you looked at what it's like for care leavers and how they treat meetings about their personal lives, they never turn up. They swear, they rebel, they do everything against it. So there is research to support that point of view. However, it's just not talking about the right group of young people, because we're not them.
That's the whole thing earlier we talked about, how people are numbers and letters in files and folders and
I don't know what my case number is, but like my point is that I am in the system. I am not a person at all.
You're all categorised as groups.
Oh yeah, you're like in this labelled group. It's just beautiful. You're not even a name. You're just a number with a list of labels and a file which they log between 9 to 5. You know, whereas here you're not like that, which I think is probably why things have worked out the way that they have, and this group of individuals is the way it is because it's not about files and case numbers, it's about actual people.
And there is a danger, 'cause every time money is attached, especially to young people, there becomes this idea of being a label and a statistic, because the more underprivileged you are, the more money the council's willing to give to you, and whatever residency you're in or unit you're in order for you to, if that, prosper, if that. Yet you're still told that even though there's so much investment financially that's been put into you, you're never going to amount to anything. So as a young person,
it's two contradictory messages.
How do you deal with that? How do you facilitate that? So yeah, absolutely agree. I think treating human beings as commodities first and foremost is completely